Hello and welcome to Mrs. Riley's Maths videos. Today we're going to look at integers, and I'm going to do this first video about integers to introduce you to the idea of what they are and talk about how we might add and subtract those integers. Okay, and also a little bit about what size they are. When we've got plus and minus numbers, how do we know what's bigger and what's smaller? So to start off with, when you were in junior infants, you learned how to count. And you learned how to count with positive whole numbers. So even when you were before junior infants, when you were in kindergarten or preschool or whatever, you learned how to count with whole numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you'd count everything as you went along. And we've talked already this year about natural numbers or positive whole numbers. And they have the symbol n. So when it comes to talk about natural numbers, we use the symbol n. But all you need to worry about is that things like 1, 2, 3, 4, or 742, or 9,637, or even 1,673,000. Those are all positive whole numbers. And what we're looking at today, and we've begun to look at, is integers. And that's when we introduce negative numbers into our discussions. So integers are also whole numbers, not decimals or fractions. They have to be whole numbers. But as well as positive whole numbers, it includes negative whole numbers, minus numbers. So sometimes we talk about minus numbers or negative numbers. So minus or negative whole numbers are called integers, and the symbol we use for them is a z. This is how I do my z's. Maybe you do your z's a bit differently. So integers, positive and negative whole numbers, minus numbers, we might say, plus and minus whole numbers. Where do we find negative numbers in the world? When I asked my first year class this the other day, I had great replies. One answer was in temperature. And somebody mentioned fridge or freezer, how you might have -4 degrees Celsius, or you might have +7 degrees Celsius. So we have negative numbers here, positive numbers here, or you might even have in a weather report, say from Alaska, you might have the temperatures -34 degrees Celsius. Okay, so we see negative numbers in temperature. We see negative numbers in buildings. So if you go to a tall building, like a hotel, or if you go to a shopping centre near you, for example, Dundrum Town Centre, you might have a building that's built above the ground and below the ground. And you'll notice as you go up and down in the elevator or the lift in those buildings, that the buildings above the ground are given names like +1 or +2 or +3, +4. The building that's at ground level is usually 0, and then you have -1, -2, -3. And the minus numbers are below the ground. Okay, you might have minus numbers there. The other one that was a really good example was a bank. So say you have 10 euro in your bank account, and you go to the bank and you take out or withdraw 20 euro. What you end up with is a balance of -10 euro, okay, which is called being overdrawn. So you have -10 euro because you only had 10 euro in the bank, but you tried to take out 20 euro and you have -10 euro. So these are 3 places we might find negative numbers in the world, and maybe you can think of others. When it comes to addition and subtraction of positive and negative numbers, whole numbers, what we often try and do is to find a way to help us, because when we start into this at first, it can be really, really confusing because we're not used to knowing how to deal with positive and negative numbers together. It's easy enough if we have something like 10 minus 4, we know the answer is 6. Or if we have 20 minus 17, we know the answer is 3. But sometimes we'll get a question that says -4 plus 10, and then it's not quite so easy to see what the answer is. Or -17 plus 20, and again, it's not so easy to see the answer. So we often use a number line. Now this is a short number line, but it might be useful. So here we have a 0 in the middle. To the right of the 0 are all our plus numbers starting with 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and onwards. That's what the arrow means. It means go on forever. And on this side, we've got -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. So if you look and see, you can see that they're kind of mirror images of each other. Okay, except on one side we have all the positives, the pluses, and on the other side we have all the negatives. Now, if you notice, let's think about temperature for a minute. A temperature of 3 degrees is obviously warmer than a temperature of 1 degree, which is warmer than a temperature of -2 degrees, which is warmer than a temperature of -6 degrees. And a temperature of -5 degrees is colder than a temperature of -3 degrees, which is colder than a temperature of -1 degrees, which is colder than a temperature of 6 degrees. So it's important to understand that as the numbers get lower and lower away from 0, moving to the left, they get smaller in value. Okay, they might look like the digits get bigger, but the number value gets smaller. I'd much prefer to owe €4 to the bank, so to have a balance of -€4 than a balance of -€400. I'd much prefer just to owe €4 than to owe €400. I have a much better chance of surviving if the temperature is -1 degree Celsius than I have of surviving one that's -100 degrees Celsius. And I'd be much deeper in the ground if I was at level -10 in a lift than if I was at level -2. That would be much deeper. So it's important to get into your head how the numbers change as you go along to the left of 0 on your number line. So how might we use this number line? So let's think. Say we've got, let's take our two questions here. 10 minus 4. Well, I'm actually going to have to change that, haven't I? Because I don't go up as far as 10. So let's say 7 minus 4. If we were using a number line when we were younger in national school, we might start at 7 and we'd say 7 subtract 4. 7 subtract 4, or 7 minus 4. What we mean is take 4 away from 7. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We move to the left because we're subtracting, and we move 4 spaces. So 7 minus 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We know the answer is 3. Let's do it the other way. If we had -4 plus 7, how would we work that? Well, if we were at -4 and we wanted to add on 7, we know we'd move to the right, and we'd move 7 to the right. So we'd start at -4 and we'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and again we add up at 3. -4 plus 7 equals 3. Let's take another one. Say we had -2 plus 8. So I'm going to start here at -2. Because we're adding on 8, we're going to move to the right, and we're going to move 8 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So -2 plus 8 is 6. Let's see, 3 minus 8. I'm going to start at 3, and I'm going to move 8 places to the left. Okay, 8 places to the left. So start at 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My answer is -5 or -5. 2 minus 4. What's that going to give me? Start at 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. -2. Here's a harder one. I've got -1, -5. How's that going to work? Well, I start at -1. I'm subtracting 5, so I move 5 places to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I get to -6. How about 0 minus 3? Start at 0, to the left, 1, 2, 3, I end up at -3. So a number line can be super useful when we're adding and subtracting integers. Another really useful way of talking about integers is one that my maths taught me back in the last, my maths teacher taught me back in the last century. And that was about posses and negs. And he used to say that posses and negs were two gangs. And they used to meet up in the park for fights. So they used to fight in the park, which is not a good idea. And whenever they met, they'd fight each other, and whoever had the biggest number won. So whoever has the biggest number of people, or people in the gang, biggest number in the gang, would win. So for instance, one day in the park there were 5 pauses, plus 5, and along came 3 negs, minus 3, and they fought each other. And what happened was, as they fought each other, a pause and a neg would drop out because they both cancelled each other out. A neg and a pause, a neg and a pause. And you could see that the winner of that battle was 2 pauses. There they are, those 2 pauses. So the answer is plus 2. But then the next day the negs were smart and they brought along a lot more of them. So the negs brought along 2, 5, 9 negs. And the pauses weren't smart. They came back with 5 again. And the pauses and the negs fought each other. Big battle. Okay, a bit like these guys. Big battle. And there were 5 of them and 9 of them. Who's going to win? That's right, the negs are going to win. How much are they going to win by? Well, let's see. They are going to win by, how many are left? 4. So plus 5 minus 9. The winners are the negs because they've got the bigger gang. How much do they win by? They win by the difference between these 2 numbers, which is 4, negative 4. Okay? And then let's take one more example of this. So another day, the negs and the pauses were in the park. Now let's see, there were 3 pauses to start off with, plus 3. But then another 4 pauses came along. 3, 4. So altogether, there were 7 pauses. Okay. In the park to start with, there were 2 negs, negative 2. But then along came 6 negs, and they joined the 2 negs. So of course, negative 2 and negative 6, when they joined together, there were 8 of them, negative 8, 8 negs. Now they had their fight. And who won? Between positive 7 and negative 8, the negs won. And they won by 1. So the answer to that would be minus 1. How would we write that in maths? What we have is positive 3 plus 4, another positive 4, gives me positive 7. Negative 2 plus negative 6 equals negative 8. And then positive 7, negative 8, when they meet each other, the answer is negative 1. Sometimes we might say here 7 minus 8. 7 minus 8 equals negative 1. We might say 7 subtract 8 equals minus 1. Okay, either of those is fine. We might even say plus 7 plus minus 8 equals minus 1, but we wouldn't normally do that. And equally, with this minus 2 plus minus 6 equals minus 8, we would normally just say minus 2 minus 6 equals minus 8. Okay, so let's go back to our number line. Here's our number line, and this is going to be the last thing we're going to do. Here's some questions that I want you to try, and I want you to either try them with the number line or with pauses and negs. Okay, number line or pauses and negs. I'm going to write them out here. I want you to try these. Pause the video before you try them, and then see what answers I give. So here's the questions. Pause the video now and try them, and then come back and see what the answers are. Okay, have you tried them? So positive 2, negative 7. Start at plus 2 and move 7 spaces to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The answer is minus 5. Our 2 pauses fighting with 7 negs. The negs win by 5. 8 pauses and 12 negs fight, and the negs win by 4. Or start at 8 and move 12 spaces to the left. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And the answer is negative 4. Minus 8 plus 11. Start at minus 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The answer is 3. And minus 13 minus 5, well, I can't do that on my number line. I don't have enough space. But what we can say is 13 negs and 5 negs, they join up in the park. Now we have 18 negs, or minus 18. Again, minus 13 minus 10, the negs join together, and we've got 23 of them all together. 9 minus 14, well, let's pop in a 9 here. Start at 9 and move 14 spaces to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there's 5. 3 minus 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The answer is minus 5 as well. Or 3 pauses and 8 negs meet each other and they have a result of minus 5. And minus 2 plus 12. The pauses win by 10. So the answer is plus 10. Well done if you got all of those right. Here's some harder ones. Again, pause the video, try them out for yourself, and then see whether you get the answers right. So we have 3 plus 2 minus 7 is going to be 5 minus 7 is equal to minus 2. Now actually, better way to do that would be to do it like this. 3 plus 2 is 5 minus 7. 5 minus 7 is minus 2. To work down the page if we can. Okay, work down. Here's 5 minus 4 plus 6. 5 minus 4 plus 6 is going to be 5. Well, I can do it one of two. Either way, I can either say 5 minus 4 is 1 plus 6, which is 7. Or I can say 5 minus 4 plus 6. I can say 5 plus 6 is 11 minus 4 equals 7. It doesn't matter which way I do it. So this has got an answer of 7. Minus 3 plus 10 minus 6 plus 4. I might say minus 3 and minus 6 is minus 9. 10 plus 4 is 14. So my answer is 5. Or I might say minus 3 plus 10 minus 6 plus 4. Minus 3 plus 10 is 7. 7 minus 6 plus 4. 7 minus 6 is 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. So the answer to this is 5. And finally, minus 9, minus 3, minus 2. Well, they're all negs. So they're all joining together to be in the same gang of negs. 9 and 3 is 12. And 2 is minus 14. I hope this has been useful. You can watch the video again and again and again until you feel you've got a handle on it. Well done, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.